And welcome back. Orange County Fire Authority is here today. Captain Steve Concialdi, and you brought along Captain Bill Lackey, who is an investigator with Orange County Fire. Nice to have you on today.
Oh, thank you. Nice to be here.
It's a pleasure, and I know all the work that goes into it because just recently, obviously on the news, we're hearing about the huge fire up in LA and how it may take a week to get in there and figure out everything that goes on. But you do this for every fire. How do you determine at the point where an investigator goes in?
With the county, we are requested on any working fire that happens within the boundaries of Orange County. So that could be anywhere from Yorba Linda all the way down to San Clemente. There's 2 investigators on every day, so I have a partner. We also have a daytime investigator and a Irvine police detective that's assigned to our office during the day. That'll help us with our investigations. But we're dispatched to every working fire within the county to go assist with the origin and cause.
So you're busy.
We are busy.
Yeah, yes. Definitely. Before we kind of get into more of that, we're going to talk about something that it seems to have been happening very regularly lately, and that's the Orange County Fire Authority helping in some way to bring a new life into the world, which is certainly better than when you have to investigate the other part of it. And we're going to show a picture here of a couple that they phoned into 911. We're going to play the sound, so as soon as we have that, just let me know, and we'll hear part of that 911 call. And very, very interesting. So let's go ahead and we'll listen to the sound, and we'll hear that a little bit.
Emergency, it's time with a transfer. Go ahead, sir. Fire department.
Hello, yes, I'm having a baby right now.
Okay, where are you at?
We are off Burgess.
Off of where?
Burgess. Spurgeon.
Okay, and what cross street are you at, or address in front of it?
We are at 17th and Spurgeon.
Okay, in Santa Ana?
Yes.
Are you in front of a business?
Yeah, 7-Eleven.
Okay, what kind of car?
It's a minivan. On the.
Okay, put your flashers on, okay?
Okay.
Okay, just so you know, we're on our way. And is she in labor?
Yes.
Okay. All right, how far along is she?
I don't know, I see something. Something's 39 weeks, almost coming out, ma'am.
Okay, are you in the back with her?
Actually, I'm driving right now.
Okay, you pulled over, right? You pulled over, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you need to is she in the front seat or the back seat?
The front seat.
Okay, well, you need to get over on her side, okay?
Okay.
When's your due date?
It's supposed to be this morning.
Today?
Yes, today, and it's
okay. How far apart are her contractions?
Like half an hour ago. Her water's broke.
Okay.
Yeah, we are over there, and
okay.
She say call 911.
Okay. Does she have her underwear off?
She has what?
Does she have her underwear off?
No.
Okay. Well, you need to recline the seat back, okay? And you need to check and see if you can see anything coming out.
Yes, I can see it. On the way, ma'am?
Yeah, we're on our way, okay? You're in front of 7-Eleven, right?
Yes.
Okay, do you see the head?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to put one hand on the top of the head, okay? Because you don't want it to come out too fast, okay?
Oh, no.
You need to tell me when the head is out. Is the head out?
It's out.
Okay. Okay, now look and see. Is the cord wrapped around her neck?
It's close?
Is the cord wrapped around the neck?
Yes.
Okay, what you need to do is you need to take your finger, okay, and you need to slip it between the cord and the neck, and you need to remove that cord from around the neck.
I can pull it out?
No, you need to put your finger between the cord and the baby's head and loosen it from the neck.
That's absolutely fascinating. And tell me, just later on, you were saying that this happened again with a set of twins.
Right, so this was the other morning, and the family was driving to the Kaiser Permanente in Irvine to deliver their baby that morning. She was going to be induced. So as they were driving there, like you heard, her water broke, and this is her second child, and they're driving, and he calls 911. And so the dispatcher says, "Where are you?" And he says, "I'm driving." And she says, "You need to pull over." So they pulled over in a 7-Eleven parking lot on East 17th and North Spurgeon in Santa Ana in the parking lot. And he had to jump out of the car and help his wife deliver the baby. And it was amazing. And Michelle Richards, one of our best dispatchers, so she's been doing this for 20 years. She's delivered 13 babies. So this is lucky number 13, as they call it. But the cord was wrapped around this baby's neck, just like last month when she helped deliver that baby. The cord was wrapped around. So she just told me yesterday, in the 13 deliveries she's helped with, the cord's only been wrapped around 2 times, and it just happens to be the last 2 times. So she calmly walked the dad through, because when the baby's coming out like that, when the cord around the baby's neck, the baby's blue. It's not breathing. And it's scary for the dad and the mom and everything, but she calmly walked the dad through all the steps. The dad stimulated the baby, cleaned the baby off. Our paramedics arrived just at the time. So this is them, and they're getting ready to clamp the cord right here. And the mom told me yesterday at the hospital, I mean, Kaiser Permanente yesterday was great. We went to the hospital there, and a bunch of the news channels were there. And she goes, I grabbed my phone, and she goes, I snapped this picture as they were. She goes, I wanted to have pictures for little Liam. So I mean, it was a great story. Baby's healthy, happy, mom's doing great.
That is great. Good news.
Yeah, very good news.
The next series of photos we're going to show is a fire down at San Juan Capistrano in kind of a stable area. And you see the last photo here. Is that one? Are you in there? Because are you one of the fire investigators?
Me on the right.
So tell me about Bill. Tell me about this fire here.
So this fire came in early morning hours. It was reported by a passerby who was driving along Ortega Highway. The location is Ortega Highway in La Plata, so it's the equestrian center.
Okay, that big, huge equestrian center down there.
Right, where they do shows, every year. So this involved no stables that had any animals in it. This was good. Basically a barn that was storing some hay and some stable footing, a sawdust type material, and then a shop area and some office spaces. And by the time that our units were able to get on scene, because it's in an area that's kind of off on a dirt road, and it's not really well marked. Obviously they knew where the fire was, because from a mile out they could see the flames 50 feet high. By the time they got there, they had a well-involved barn fire. So water was an issue for them. Hydrants were not readily accessible, so they had to shuttle water for a while. That was part of the problem that they had. They did a real good job of containing the fire to the building that you see. There were buildings next to it, office space that was actually saved by the firefighters, putting their hose lines between the fire and that office.
Have you determined the cause yet on this? Or are you still looking at it?
We're still looking at it. We're looking at it as an accidental fire.
Okay.
We believe it involved a piece of farm equipment there that probably had some type of malfunction.
Okay. And I mentioned earlier, everyone probably saw in the news the huge fire up in LA, and to go into a scene like that and try and pinpoint what happened. I mean, I think they were saying they have the ATF up there. They got like a team up there. How difficult is that when you may go in and kind of suspect some kind of arson or to find out and pinpoint where that starts, especially on a massive fire like that? And how safe is it really?
Well, and that's the first thing we look at is it a safe scene for us to get into and investigate? There are times when we cannot start our investigation because we'd be putting ourselves at risk due to collapsing, structure that's are unstable or hazardous materials or things like that. So we have to first go in there, establish whether or not there's we have the ability to get in there safely. We look at a lot of different factors from a lot of times in a large fire like that, if we have a suspicion that there may be something other than an accidental fire, the ATF is a good resource for us to call in to assist us. We also have a task force within the county that we can rely upon with the other fire departments, investigators that will come in and assist us on large fires. But it's a methodical, systematic process. We do it the same way every time. We're looking to see if we could find a specific area of origin, and then once we find a specific area of origin, then we look for potential sources of ignition.
Yeah, I can see where that is something as big as that one is going to take a while, and as you said, do it methodically.
Yeah, and one of the things they're doing up there is they're using dogs to see if they can detect any accelerant that might have been used. There's a lot of different tools that we can use to try to solve a fire like that.
Yeah, very interesting. And I know you've had someone on before where there was a fire here in the community, and you brought a photo of, we could tell this is where this started. Right. If it wasn't arson, it was just, I think it was it cords or something, or it's a kitchen fire?
Right. I mean, so we have a lot of fires here, but some of the recent fires were caused by faulty multi-plug adapters.
Right.
So that's why we always stress that if you do have a multi-plug adapter, it needs to have a circuit breaker and a surge protector. So if there is a problem, basically it shuts off.
Yeah.
And but too often, I think one of the recent fires here is it was a small appliance that was plugged in. So we recommend all small appliances unplug them. If you don't need to use them, you just unplug them, and then there's not a hazard there. And you deal with this quite a bit.
Right. A lot of our accidental fires are related to electrical cords. Overloaded circuits, faulty wiring, damaged wiring. If you have an appliance that's old, it's not running properly, and you continue to use it, that could lead to an accidental fire. So we recommend that if you do have some type of a problem with your electrical within your household, unless you are a certified electrician yourself, that you have somebody come on in and take a look at that, either that appliance or that electrical cord or your electrical circuit. If you have problems with your lights dimming or not working, or circuit breakers tripping, those are all clues that says that you need to have something like that checked out.
Yeah, I think I know we've gone around after the few times you've been on. I've looked at some of the power strips that we have. Even an older one, I found out it's a metal one, but it has a circuit breaker in it. I was surprised. I was like, this thing's ancient. And I looked on it, I go, wow, it's got a circuit breaker in it. That's kind of nice. And I unplug I don't unplug all the appliances, my toaster I do. And we have a toaster oven, but that's plugged into a ground fault circuit interrupter. So there's a little bit more safety on that. But
some of the other fires, remember, it's the cords under something heavy.
Yes, exactly.
Desk, file cabinet, some sort of furniture where it's being compressed, or it goes through a doorway and the door shuts. Then it builds up heat in there, and a lot of times that will start a fire as well.
Yeah, and over the years you see more and more of that, obviously, because of all the computers and everything else we have. This time of the year, the safety of your Christmas lights, not only the obvious, what you just talked about, but how many times do you folks see people getting up, probably not in this community, but let's put up our own lights. If you got a single story and you're doing around the eaves, that's fine, but people get up to the second story of something and bad news.
Right, that's actually a common call. People fall, all ages. In fact, one of our neighbors, her grandfather was in his 80s, and he was on the roof. This was just a couple years ago, and he was trying to just finish his lights, and he fell off. And so it doesn't just happen to the young people, it happens to all kinds of people. You just got to be extremely careful on ladders or climbing on the roof, because you could easily fall. And then, as we see, when somebody's older and they fall off the roof, it's very difficult to recover from that.
Yeah,
extremely. For most people.
Here's another thing that you have talked about before, and I'll let you hold it up there. And this is people maybe disposing of a cigarette or whatever in a standard trash can. and look what can happen. You can start a fire.
Right, so we see this, or we see the hot ashes after a fire. They throw it in a garbage can and they'll put it in a garage or next to their house. Those start fires.
Right.
So basically it needs to be an improved container away from the house with a metal lid on it, or make sure those cigarettes are out, because too often people will just throw their cigarettes or dump the ashtray in a trash can. And Bill, we've talked about that quite a bit.
Right. Yeah, you know, cigarettes in the state, they're supposed to have coatings that they self-extinguish after a certain amount of time if left unattended. But those types of cigarettes have a failure rate that's actually pretty high, and they will continue smoldering for quite a while. So, like Steve was saying, you really want to make sure that you're careful with your cigarettes. You don't want to be smoking in bed and falling asleep while you're watching TV, because that can also cause a fire if it gets inside the bedding material. We've had
It still goes on.
It still goes on. We have frequent tragic, examples of people falling asleep in bed and not recovering from that. So we want to make sure that people are safe. They're using the approved ashtrays and the approved disposal methods. Even your mulch around your flower beds and things like that. If you discard a cigarette in a mulch that's receptive, you can cause a fire by doing that too.
Yeah, exactly. And that even happened to me once. I do not smoke, but I do barbecue. And I had the coals, the barbecue was done. It was really the next day. And I actually had the coals in a pan that I could lift up in my bare hands. So I'm thinking, okay, these are perfectly cool. And I put them in the compost bin. And a couple hours later, all of a sudden, I was out somewhere. My wife was home. She's going, all of a sudden, our neighbor came over and said, I think there's a brush fire in the area, because that's what it smelled like. And my wife opened it up, and there were no flames, but there was smoke. And, she put the hose on it. But had I done that at night, that could have been really bad. Now, I don't necessarily use that method anymore, but when I do, I will leave the coals sit there for a couple days. I have an infrared heat sinking, one of those meters where you can test how hot a surface is, and I'll put it on the coals, kind of stir them around, and then I'll know for sure. But I'll never forget that, So as cautious as I was, it still happened.
And then on windy days, we've had some significant fires where they've discarded a cigarette or the ashtray in a trash can, and then it starts. So it starts small like that, but then with the wind, it's burned into the house, or it's burned the trees and vegetation next to them. I can think of a couple fires that we've had.
Yeah.
So it's, we have a storm coming. It's, even though it's wintertime, it's still dry out there. It's going to be windy. So we just got to be very careful.
Yeah, I think we got lucky this year so far.
But it's not over.
It's not over. And of course, the mudslides can happen too, where you had that up in Santiago.
Right.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming on. Have a great holiday,
Okay.
and we appreciate it.
And the Spark of Love toy drive,
That's right.
You bring toys to any fire station, and we'll give them to needy kids.
Yeah,
in
we're
Orange
doing
County.
it on our buses here, or you can take them right to Station 22 if you'd like. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Again.
We'll be back.